right, so now we are going to play Godspark. So we are going to get right to what do we need to play. So we need the book. We've got the book. We need a saint sheet right there on the table, no problem. A selection of 6-sided dice, which we are going to call D6s from here on out. A deck of cards right there. This would normally be shuffled, but I'm going to admit that I have stacked this deck so that we get a nice selection of events during this little walkthrough. 2 tokens for tracking movement. We're going to use a couple of smaller D6s there, and then an erasable writing implement. Perfect. Back to the inside front cover for the gameplay procedure. We're going to use this flow sheet to guide us through playing the game. So game setup. First, we need to name our saint. We're going to keep this real simple. St. Alan, that's us. Then we're going to place a D6 in the life die position. Now, we could mark the dots and then erase them as they go away, but we'll just use this and turn it to track how much life we have. We also have a fragment die position. We don't have any fragments yet, so I'm just going to put that to the side, but we'll be using that as we collect fragments over the course of the game. Next, that's it for step 1. Step 2, roll a D66. So for this, we're going to roll 2 D6s, and we're going to choose one ahead of time to be the tens position. I always make the red one the tens position. Go ahead and do that. So we're going to start at position 25. So we'll put a T there for Tryamba. That's it for setup. We're ready to rock. We'll put one of our tokens on the T, and we're going to go to the beginning of round. So first, we mark what round it is. So it's round 1, so we're going to cross off the 1 there. Then we have a choice. We could travel or explore. In the first round, you're always going to explore. You're going to be exploring the Tryamba Godfall. This is your god, so there's nothing dangerous here, but this is going to be sort of like your opportunity to just collect some supplies, some materials, some relics, some godsparks, and that you're going to use as you continue on to more dangerous godfalls later in the game. So we'll go ahead and say we're exploring Tryamba, and because this is the first time we've explored, we mark the number in the Tryamba row for this round of the Godfall countdown, and that is a 4. That number is going to be important when we decide how many areas are in this level. The first level is always the same number of areas as the number you marked for this Godfall. Subsequent levels, when you explore this Godfall again, are going to have this number plus the number of levels you've completed. So we'll be tracking levels completed with separate discard piles after each level is explored. But for this first one, we're going to go ahead and flip the first card, put our token there to mark where we are, and then go to the divinary section of the book to find out what happens. So we're in the Tryamba Godfall section, and we see 2 through 9 of any suit is this first thing. And now I'm going to skip a lot of the flavor text. I'm going to leave that for you in your game so that we can focus on the mechanics to make sure that that's out of the way when you want to play. So first we need to pick our difficulty level. We're going to go with standard, which means no matter what suit a number 2 through 9 is, we're going to get 1 Godspark fragment. At harder difficulty levels, some of the suits don't give you anything, which admittedly is not much fun, but it is more difficult. So that's what that is. But with standard, this 7 of hearts is going to give us our first fragment. So we'll move that on to mark we have 1 fragment. Again, you could mark the dots on the sheet itself, but we're just going to use the die to track. That's it for that area. We move on to the next area, a 10. And so for a 10, we're going to get a relic. Now, every god has a relics table. They get stronger as you move along, but for this first one, we're going to go ahead and roll. We rolled a 5, so that is a power 2 transport. So we got a good transport to get started. So we're going to say that's a motorcycle. Saint on a motorcycle, that's what I want. All right, on to the next area. A king, so the king is going to give us 2 fragments, so we'll advance the 1 to a 3. And then the last one is an ace. So the ace is 6 fragments, which we could turn this 3 times, take it off, mark an available Godspark, bring it back on, turn it 3 more times. Instead, we're just going to check the available Godspark position and say that didn't move. We got a full Godspark with that ace. That's great. So that is the end of the Godfall level. We've explored all 4 areas. So we're going to do the thing we said, move the token off and create a single discard pile. That's to help track how many levels of Tryamba we've explored. And now we're done with this. We're going to come over to the end of the round, perform any number of miracles. We only have one Godspark, full Godspark available. We don't really have any miracles to perform, so we don't need to do any of that. And then reduce your life by 1 pip. We are fading, so that every round you're going to be reducing your life by 1 pip. We'll be able to replenish the life by moving Godsparks into the extra life box, but for right now, we're just going to leave that alone. And because we haven't satisfied any of the endgame conditions, we go right back to the beginning of the round and start round 2. So, just like before, we mark off to say round 2 has happened. And now we have something different. We have an X in the Munjor row. That means we can, if we look up in the sky, we see Munjor falling towards Ruina Dei, which means we know where it's going to be. You would normally roll a d66 to see exactly which hex Munjor was going to fall into. I'm going to fudge this as well to make sure I can show you a few different things. And we're going to say that Munjor is falling right here into 32. Now I'll put an M there. So we'll just pretend that I rolled a 32 on that d66. So we are not ready to go explore Munjor. So when we get to the decision of travel versus explore, we are going to explore again. And so we're going to stay right here in Tryamba and explore a second time. And so for this, we're going to get how many areas? 4 for the number that we marked, plus the 1 for the one that we've already explored. So that's 5. We go ahead and flip that first one. And again, 2 through 9, we know that gives us a fragment, so we'll move this up to 4. A king, that's 2 fragments, so this goes to 6. And when it's a 6, it comes off the sheet, and we get a Godspark. A jack, that's another relic, so we're going to go ahead and roll for what relic we get. And we got a 6, which is another good one. That's a power 2 weapon, so we're going to give ourselves a flail. Every motorcycle rider needs a flail. That sounds very safe. All right. And then we're going to go on to the next one. Another jack, another relic. Now I'm going to fudge this, and I'm going to say we rolled a 1 for a power 1 armor. And obviously we need to be wearing a helmet, so we'll put a helmet on. And then the last one is another ace for another full Godspark. Great. So that is the end of the Godfall level. We'll once again stack up these cards and make a separate discard pile to track how many times we've explored Tryamba. We now go back to the end of the round. Do we want to perform any miracles? We've got a great selection of relics. We've got pretty much the best we could be. We've got 3 Godsparks. We don't need them yet. So no miracles to be performed. We're going to fade from 5 to 4. And we're going to go back to the beginning of the next round. So we mark off the 3. And now we get to choose travel or explore. And this time we're going to travel. We are going to get on our motorcycle and head on towards the Munjor Godfall. So when we travel, first we get 1 hex for free. So we're going to go ahead and move 1 hex for free. Next, we're going to try and use our transport. So we'll roll, because it's power 2, we roll 2 d6s. And we'll just roll them and see what happens. Okay. Neither of them was a 1. So anything that's more than 1 counts. So we get to move 2 hexes, 1 for each of the power. Had one of those been a 1, it would not have moved us, and it would have actually broken our motorcycle. But fortunately, it didn't happen. Now we are 1 hex away from the Munjor Godfall. It would be great if we were there so that next round we could explore instead of having to travel again next round. So we're going to use our Godsparks to perform the endurance miracle. That just gets us to go a little farther. And because I really want it to work, I'm going to roll 2. I need only 1 of these to not be a 1 to be able to get there. So I'm actually going to say that we rolled a 2 and a 1. So the 1 Godspark that rolled a 2, that gets us where we want to go. The one that rolled a 1 is going to fade. So that means we lose it from our available Godsparks and we gain a fading Godspark. Now that's a free reroll 1 time that we can use at any point later in the game, which is great. All right, so traveling was our choice for this whole round. So we've traveled, and now we're at the end of the round again. Do we need to do any more miracles? Probably not. Actually, you know what? We're going to do it. We're going to move 1 of these over to an extra life. So that way, if we lose that die for any reason, we'll immediately have 6 more pips of life to replace it with. Now, we fade again from 4 to 3. And then we go back to the beginning of the round. So we mark off the 4. And now we are going to get a chance. We're going to choose to explore during this round, and we're going to mark the 5. That means we get 5 cards, 5 areas in the first Godfall level. Now, I would normally take these cards and shuffle them all together. But like I said, because the deck is stacked, we're just going to tuck them on the bottom and pretend that we shuffled. There we go. So how many areas we get in our first level? We get 5, because that's the number that we marked in the Munjor row. Perfect. And just like before, we flip that first one and we go there. Now we flip to the Munjor page of the Divinary, and we see a Jack is another relic. Let's see what we get. A 2. A power 1 armor. Now we already have an armor. If this was a stronger armor, we could swap them out. But as it is, we already have a power 1 armor. We can't wear 2 helmets at the same time, so we have to leave that behind. Bit of a bummer, but not the worst thing that could happen. Another ace, which is going to be another full Godspark for us. That's great. And then a 10. And so a 10 is a whisper. So this is our first combat with a whisper of Munjor. So we're going to go to the Unholy Violence. Now a whisper down here has only 6 pips of life, a 1d6 for attack, and it's guarding 3 fragments. So we're going to give it 6 pips of life with one of these extra d6s. And then we're going to roll for its attack. So the first thing always, right out the gate, the angel attacks. And it's going to do 4 damage to us. But we have a helmet. Let's see what our helmet can stop. 5. So we take no damage. That's awesome. Now we get to hit it back, and we're going to hit it with our flail. So we'll roll 2d6 for that. A 2 and a 3. We do 5 damage to it, taking it down to 1. All right, that's the end of the first. They had a turn. We had a turn. Now the angel goes again. 2, and we'll see. And I'm going to fudge this, and we're going to say we'll roll to 1. So we're going to take 1 damage and go from 3 to 2. And our helmet is broken because we rolled a 1 for the helmet's 1 die. So we lose that helmet. Bit of a bummer, but hey, that happens. All right, so it's our turn to hit it again. We're going to hit it with our flail. 5 and a 2, 7 damage. It's dead. And we collect the 3 fragments that it was guarding. Great. Nice little round of combat there. Let's go to the next area. A king. So this is the level 2 angel. This is the Scion. So we're going to give it its 12 pips of life, and it has 2d6 for attack. So just like before, the first thing it does is it comes out swinging. Ouch. That's 11 damage, and we have no armor. We only have 2 plus 6 is 8 pips of life. We are dead. But not like all the way dead, just partly dead. Because what we get to do is we look at our death circle and nothing's marked there yet. So that means we get to recover from this. So we're gonna roll 6, awesome. We replace the life die with 6 and we mark off the 6th. What that means is we just use up 1/6 of our death circle. If we ever die again and we roll a 6, that's the end. You can't use the same number twice. But when we recover, we also get to bring back a level 1 relic of any kind, sort of as a freebie for recovering from death. So we're going to go ahead and get our helmet back on because that hurt a lot. All right, and so also when we recover, we don't lose our turn. So we get hit, we immediately pop back up with our the Godspark that we're running around with. That energy is still in us. We've got 6 pips of life again. It's time to hit it. So we're going to swing our flail on this thing. So that is a 4. So the angels always take all the damage. So 4 damage to it, and that's the end of our turn. It's going to hit us. It still has 2d6 attack. That's 9 damage. We get to use our helmet. Hope for the best. 2. That reduces it to 7 damage. It's still too much. We're dead again. And again, we get to try to recover. 6. Game's over. So, almost. We've got a Fading Godspark. We're going to go ahead and spend that to re-roll this and hope we don't get a 6. A 1. That's actually okay. It's like the one time a 1's not terrible. All right, that uses our 1, but we are back in it. We can get a free, we'll take a level 1 weapon. We'll get our knife back. Hopefully we won't need to use that because hopefully our flail will get the job done. So like I said, we pop back up, we recover, we get a new relic, and we get to swing right on it. And that is 9 damage against its 8 life. It is dead. We get the 6 Godspark fragments it was guarding. Great round. All right. That's it. We got one more area here. So we're going to flip that over, and we're going to find another Whisper. And so we were feeling pretty good, except for the fact that we only have 1 pip of life. And on top of only having 1 pip of life, we've already used 2 of our marks in the death circle. This Whisper is only guarding 3 fragments. So we're going to say, you know what? I don't need to do this. So we're going to go look at our miracles. And we see the evasion miracle right here. After revealing an area within a Godfall, you may choose to either skip this area and move to the next area instead, or abandon the Godfall level. So we're going to just try and perform this miracle. It's a power 2 miracle. We really want to get out of here, so we're going to use all 3 of our available Godsparks. And none of them rolled 1, so they all worked. So we performed that miracle, and we just bamf right out of there. So we leave that guy behind. He wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth dying for. It's now the end of the round. We are able to perform a miracle, and we are immediately going to move one of these Godsparks over here to an extra life, because we know when we fade, that's going to be gone. And now it comes right back with 6, and we are still in the game. And that's where we're going to stop. So there's some combat, some exploration. You would keep going, probably explore Munjor another time or 2, try to get some more of those Godspark slots filled up. Because once you have all 6 filled up, you can try to perform the Ascension Miracle, which is how you're going to win the game. Having a Fading Godspark or 2 to back up that 6d6 roll is probably good, but you can't guarantee getting those. So you just got to hope for the best. Relics are essential. If you don't have a weapon, you can't fight. If you don't have a transport, you can't run away. That's why when you come back, when you recover from death, you can grab any one relic, so you can fill out your sheet for what you need. But you're definitely not going to want to be doing too much exploring without at least a weapon and a transport. And that's really it. That's the game. You just keep going until you get those 6 Godsparks. Yeah, I hope you have fun.